People say you can't scrub your way to success, but I did. With nothing more than a mop, a bucket, and a heart full of grit, I went from cleaning toilets to owning the very mansion I used to scrub. This is the true story of how I went from being the invisible help to the master of the house. I was 25, jobless, homeless, and full of resentment. Back then, I believed the world owed me something. I worked hard in school, got decent grades, applied to all the jobs, sent all the resumes, yet nothing. So I picked up whatever came my way, mostly odd cleaning jobs, mornings at a bakery, evenings at a warehouse, and weekends scrubbing toilets in homes so big I needed Google Maps to find the bathroom. That's how I met them, the Halsteads. They lived in a 14-bedroom mansion at the edge of Ridgewood Hills, a neighborhood so exclusive even delivery apps refused to go there after 8 p.m. I was hired by Maid Jeannie to clean their place twice a week. Basic surface-level stuff, kitchen wipe downs, bathroom scrubbing, changing bed sheets. You know, the kind of tasks rich people don't even realize are being done until they're not done. But the Halsteads were different. They noticed me. Mr. Harold Halstead was always watching. The first time I saw him, he was standing on the mezzanine level in a robe, sipping something brown from a crystal glass. I was dusting the hallway mirror when I felt it, eyes burning into my back. I turned. There he stood, like a statue, cold, silent, judging. He didn't say a word, just nodded and walked away. But from that day I knew he saw me, not as a person necessarily, but as something, a presence. One afternoon I was refilling their fruit bowl. Yes, rich people have a fruit bowl refiller. And I accidentally knocked over a banana that rolled under the marble kitchen island. Trying to be efficient, I crouched down and reached for it. That's when I heard a voice. "You missed a spot." It was Mrs. Halstead. Her voice wasn't cold. It was amused. Soft, even. "Just kidding," she smiled, waving her hand. "No one would have even noticed, but you notice everything, don't you?" I nodded, unsure of how to respond. She leaned in, whispering, "That's rare. You'd be surprised how many people clean without really seeing." From that day on, she started calling me Eagle Eyes. The Halstead mansion was enormous, more like a museum than a home. Long halls lined with portraits of people who looked like they hadn't smiled since 1800, doors that creaked open into rooms no one had touched in years. But one room was always locked, the master bedroom. At first, I didn't think much of it. Some rich people are private. But even when Mrs. Halstead was alone in the house, the door stayed locked. She'd walk by it and glance at it, sometimes with a faint, almost haunted expression. I asked once, jokingly, "You don't trust my eagle eyes in there?" She laughed, but it felt nervous. "That room's just for sleeping. Nothing to clean in there." That was a lie. I could see dust under the doorframe. A few weeks passed. I began to notice changes. Mr. Halstead, once cold and watchful, began coughing. At first just a little, then violently. I once heard him through the vents. Long, hacking fits that didn't sound like a normal cold. One day I walked in to find Mrs. Halstead wiping blood from his chin. She didn't see me, or pretended not to. The next day she asked me to skip the cleaning. "Just for a few days," she said. "We have guests." But there were no guests. I checked the driveway every day I passed. No cars, no new people, just silence. And lights, always on, in the master bedroom. A week later, I got a call from Maid Jeannie. They told me the Halsteads had personally requested me for an overnight deep clean job. Unusual. Rich people don't want to see their cleaners at night. But I needed the money. I said yes. I arrived at 9 p.m. sharp. The house was quiet, dark. All the lights off except the hallway leading to the master bedroom. And the door was open. Mrs. Halstead stood at the entrance, looking pale, eyes sunken in. "Go in," she whispered. "Start with the floor." Inside, the room smelled like stale perfume and something metallic. I began cleaning, careful not to touch anything personal. But while dusting a wooden desk in the corner, my rag slipped and I accidentally tugged the drawer. It popped open. Inside was a will, and next to it, a letter. Handwritten, signed. To whoever finds this, if you are reading this, then I am likely no longer alive. My name is Harold Charles Halstead, and I am not a good man, but I am trying to do one good thing before the end. Before I could read more, a hand gently touched my shoulder. It was Mr. Halstead. Alive. Barely. He was thinner, pale. His breath came in short rasps. "I hope you'd find it," he said. "You're smarter than you look." I was stunned. "What is this?" He chuckled. "An opportunity." Over the next hour, he told me things I still can't believe. He had no children, no family. He had amassed wealth through means that haunted him. Bribery, fraud, crushing small businesses. He had built an empire and lost his soul in the process. "I don't need a priest," he said. "I need someone who still believes in work, in people. Someone like you." He and his wife were dying. They both had late-stage illnesses. She cancer, he something worse. They had no one to leave the house to. The staff was paid, the lawyers were corrupt. But me, I noticed things. I was honest. And that was enough for them. "I'll change the will," he said. "It'll be all yours. But you have to promise, don't become like me." The next week was a blur. Secret meetings, a lawyer who arrived in an unmarked car at midnight, documents signed under candlelight. The Halsteads didn't want attention. They didn't want questions. They wanted peace. On my final cleaning visit, Mrs. Halstead handed me a manila folder. Inside, the signed property deed. She smiled weakly. "This house is yours now, Eagle Eyes. Use it better than we did." I tried to say thank you. She stopped me. "Don't thank us. Just live a good life. That'll be thanks enough." And when I walked up the marble stairs with that deed in my hand, everything felt surreal. No alarms went off, no one stopped me, no security guard said, "Hey, you can't go in there." Because the truth was, they had already left. The Halsteads passed within days of each other. Quietly, peacefully. No funeral, no press. Just a private cremation arranged by a lawyer I'd never seen again. And suddenly, I was alone. In the mansion. The property papers were real. Registered. Signed. Witnessed. I was the legal owner of a $14.6 million estate in Ridgewood Hills. I didn't know what to do. At first, I kept cleaning. Out of habit, out of guilt. I still scrubbed the sinks, wiped the counters, took out the trash. But one morning I woke up in the guest suite, opened the giant curtains, and sunlight flooded the room like gold. I whispered to myself, "This is mine." And I cried. It started with a knock. A journalist from a local real estate blog had caught wind of the property transfer through county records. A nobody janitor suddenly owning a mega mansion? That was gold. The article headline was, "From Mops to Marble, the Mysterious Rise of Ridgewood's Newest Homeowner." It went viral overnight. They twisted the story, of course. Orphan turned janitor inherits wealth from lonely couple. Some even called me a gold digger. Others thought I forged documents. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok detectives began making wild theories. Some said I was their secret illegitimate child. One claimed I was a con artist with a dark past. No one gives away a mansion unless something shady happened. Anonymous comment with 5,000 upvotes. I tried to stay silent, but the noise grew louder. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just finished donating most of the Halstead's old clothes to a shelter when I saw it. A black Cadillac parked outside the gates. Tinted windows, no plates. I stood frozen on the steps watching as a tall man in a suit stepped out holding a leather briefcase. He didn't smile. He walked right up and said, "You're not supposed to be here." "What?" He opened the briefcase. Inside were documents, property claims, bank statements, letters with government seals I didn't recognize. He said, "I represent some very powerful people. The Halsteads were not supposed to give this house away, especially not to someone like you." I clenched my fists. "They did, legally." He leaned in. "Do you know what this house was used for? Who visited here before you were even born?" "No." "Exactly."
He handed me a card. "Think carefully about who you're crossing. Enjoy the mansion while it lasts." And just like that, he was gone. His words rattled me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I wandered the halls, ending up in the library, a room I'd never fully explored. Floor-to-ceiling books, dusty shelves. I pulled a book from the third shelf titled Legacy of Silence. The shelf creaked and slid back. Behind it, a narrow staircase. I descended into darkness, phone flashlight on. What I found at the bottom changed everything. A vaulted chamber, lined with files, photos, videos, financial records, and one word stamped on every folder: Operation Remora. It was all there. Evidence of political bribes, secret donations, offshore accounts, surveillance of public officials. The Halsteads hadn't just been rich, they had been handlers. I was holding onto information that could shake governments. Leak one folder and careers would end. Lives could be ruined, or worse. No wonder that man came. No wonder this mansion was a gift with consequences. 3 days after I found the files in the hidden chamber, I received a letter, hand-delivered. It wasn't a knock this time, just the sound of paper slipping under the door. Cease and desist. Claiming I had no right to the mansion, that the transfer was made under duress, and that the Halsteads were mentally impaired when signing. It was all fake. But it came from a firm whose name alone could buy a judge. I tried to stay calm. "They're bluffing," I told myself. "The will is real. The lawyer signed it. I did nothing wrong." But every day brought new pressure. Letters, fake subpoenas, anonymous threats, drones flying too low over the property, even someone hacking into the house's Wi-Fi. They were watching me. I couldn't hide anymore. So I did something bold. I posted a video. Just me, sitting in the grand hall of the mansion, speaking from the heart. I was a cleaner. I scrubbed floors, toilets, everything. I never stole. I never tricked anyone. The Halsteads gave me this house because I was honest, because I cared when no one else did. And now, they're trying to take it from me. Not because it's wrong, but because I'm not rich enough to fight them. The video exploded. 12 million views in 5 days. People flooded the comments with support. Other cleaners, housekeepers, hotel workers, all sharing stories of being invisible. The media picked it up. From Janitor to Justice, the viral mention battle you can't miss. CNN headline. Suddenly, I wasn't alone. One night, I got an email from someone calling themselves Pixel Fang. They said they'd seen the video, that they worked in cybersecurity, that they wanted to help. At first, I thought it was a scam, but then they sent proof. Logs of the remote hacks, maps of surveillance routes, even internal emails from the law firm threatening me. They were real. Pixel Fang warned me. What you found in that basement is dangerous. Not just to you, to them. And they're scared. Very scared. I asked, what do I do? They replied, make it public, but not yet. I woke up one morning to find the for sale sign outside the mansion. I hadn't put it there, but it was my house. A fake auction had been listed online. Real estate blogs claimed it had been seized, that it was going to be sold off within 48 hours. I called the police. They said their hands were tied. I called the lawyer who had handled the will. Disconnected number. I had 2 days to stop them. Pixelfang sent me a flash drive. Encrypted, hidden inside a hollowed-out toothbrush head. Yes, seriously. Inside, every document, every file, every scandal the Halsteads had buried. I went live again. This time, the video wasn't just about me. It was about them. They're trying to erase me because I have what they fear. But I'm not afraid. I'm uploading everything. You want the truth? Here it is. I dumped the entire drive online, and the internet did what it does best. The upload hit like a lightning bolt. Within 24 hours, Twitter, now X, was trending with hashtags like Justice for the Janitor, Expose the Elite, Operation Remora, I Stand with Eagle Eyes. News anchors were reading lines from my flash drive. Politicians were being questioned live on air. Where were you on the night of that fundraiser, Senator? Why does your signature appear on a Halstead transfer? MSNBC, Prime segment. Even world governments took notice. Sanctions, investigations, arrests. One of the fake law firms that harassed me, raided by the FBI. The mansion? Temporarily protected under a federal freeze while investigations continue. But this time, it was protected for me, not from me. Among the documents I never shared online, I found something else. A final letter, tucked inside a worn envelope, handwritten, addressed to me. To the one who stayed unseen. If you're reading this, then you now know everything. The house, the money, the secrets. We didn't choose you because you were quiet. We chose you because you saw us when we no longer saw ourselves. This house destroyed families. It buried truths. It built our empire at the cost of our souls. You are the beginning of its redemption. Don't let its weight break you, but don't let it turn you cold either. Use it to do good. Harold and Marie Halstead. I read it 3 times and cried each time. Today, the mansion no longer looks like it used to. I opened the doors. I turned it into a community center, a shelter, a tech lab. People who were once invisible, janitors, ex-cons, runaways, immigrants, dreamers, they walk through the marble halls like they belong there. Because they do. I live in one small corner of it now. Just one room. The rest belongs to the world. I don't need gold. I need purpose. A film studio offered to buy the rights to my story. I said no. But I said yes to one thing. A story on YouTube. Because this is where truth spreads. Where real people find real hope. So if you're watching this, know this. I didn't climb the ladder. I cleaned the rungs until the ladder turned into a bridge. From invisible to undeniable. From janitor to owner. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and tell us where you're tuning in from. Because every house has a story, and some are just waiting to be rewritten.